Ah, there we go. It's a late one today. It doesn't even look like I'm fully awake yet. So it's 11:42 p.m. Eastern Time. I wanted to get on a bit sooner, obviously a few hours sooner at the very least. But I woke up 40 minutes ago at 11 p.m. So I got home from work. I had a beer with a coworker after work. But and I laid down for a little bit, and what should have been maybe an hour or two nap turned into a 5 hour nap. But we're showing up every day, so here I am. Today, picking up some low hanging fruit because I'm obviously still trying to get my brain going again, and I'm not trying to stay up all night either. So the low hanging fruit is going to be going through some old projects. Not going through too many, but I do have a folder I call a project pit, which back when I was doing Blender or when I was learning Blender and I was working on a file every single day, I saved a lot of files that were just sort of tests or following different tutorials from YouTube or whatnot. And a lot of them didn't make it to their full potential because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I've since got better at things like composition and color and lighting and things like that. So what I'll be doing is I'll be going through some of these files, picking one and restoring it, or let's say revamping it, seeing what I can get done in a very short amount of time with some real simple composition changes, lighting changes, and texture changes that I can do to the scene to make it a bit more interesting or making it come out with something that's a bit better than what the original, than what the file is when I first opened it. So I'm gonna just get right into it, and I don't have much time. And I want to be able to get something out today so that I'm here practicing every day, making sure I show up for this goal, for this project. So we'll get right into it. I'm going to switch over to the title screen real quick just so I can switch my camera. You'll notice that my face isn't going to show up this time when I pull up Blender. And that is because my camera is a old cell phone that I've been using previously and it is out of battery. So I need to wait a little bit for it to charge. So for this session, sorry, you're not going to see my face. I know that's the best part of these videos, but not on this one. If we look over here, this is my project pit folder, and I have a bunch of random files from when I kind of just jumped in and tackled something out of the blue. So we have over here, we got one called Villa, we got one called Tropical, Balcony, Skull, Planet, that's a typo, Planet exploding from Mars, whatever that means. Photo shoot, that's real simple. Photo shoot guy. Palm of garbage. Nike, Mountain House, Juneteenth, I remember that one. Island for cups. Interior Denver. House on Prairie. Head explosion. Ethereum skull. Dude one. What's Dude one? Just want to see what this is. Oh, this is I was trying this human generator thing. I remember this. This could be interesting, kind of coming up with some clothes for this guy because it's not something I typically do, but that'd be interesting for another one where I have a bit more time. Dragon Ball. Some of these I'm not even sure if they're so old. I'm not even sure if the texture would show up as they should. Let me see if I push this into rendered. Yeah, that's coming out how it should. So these are just some dropping spheres with a smoke simulation that are falling into lava clearly. I even think I had the lava animated on this one. This one's a good contender because I could do an ice one, I could do a water one, I could do a fire one, I could do a plant one. Donuts, the Blender Guru donut. That would be interesting too. Kind of redoing that original, the very first tutorials that I followed for Blender. Desing walk away. Yeah, clearly This was it feels like a different person made these. It's so chaotic, disorganized, and poorly labeled. Oh, yes. You know, this one has great potential because it's just a sort of infinite walkway here. Ooh, and the textures aren't showing up correctly. So I could apply new textures to this one. If I remember correctly, did this one have an animation? No. I think I might end up picking this one. Chair. What does a chair look like? No, this was no client work I don't want to revisit. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead with the walk away. Walk away. Walkway? What did I mean to name that? Anyway. Yeah, I think this would be cool. Kind of do like a Tron thing, and this fits the theme of the comic book that I'm working on. I feel like this could be a surreal moment towards the end that I have planned for. And the sphere could just kind of serve as some sort of surreal object in the scene. That's what it was in the beginning. Let's see what this looks like rendered, since we'll clearly have. All right, so the texture on the sphere seems to be working well, although that sphere is not touching the ground. Oh no. Mistake number one. Just gonna go ahead and fix that. Always have objects touching the ground. Also, there's this cool plugin called Botanique, which gives you a whole library of plants within Blender. There's a ton of those, but I like this one. It has this feature called snap to ground, which you're supposed to use on the trees, so they snap to the ground, but I think you can use it on any object. There you go. Snap to ground. That's still not touching the ground. It might be, I don't know, some displacement going on with the texture below. It's like just barely not touching. Isn't that dissatisfying? There we go. That is more so touching. Okay. So, as usual, I would split this up. It's kind of silly what I just did there. But I'll have the render scene over on the left. In fact, since it is portrait, what I'm going to do is, rather than do this up here, I'm going to give myself more room up here. I'm going to have this be a shader editor so I can edit my textures. And I will split off this bottom part to have the, there we go. So I have a 3D viewport over here and set this one to rendered, the camera view. Let's be a little smaller than what I usually work with, but I kind of just want to keep checking in on how the render's looking just down there. Very nice. And just hide all the other visual noise out of here. So how do I adjust that viewer node? Viewpoint navigation. I thought I'd be able to turn off the navigation, but clearly not here. Anyhow, that's good enough. Let's get working on this. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the camera settings. So right now I'm working with a 24mm. So I'm just going to tweak this to see what a wide angle would look like or versus a telescopic view. Tricky. If I do wide angle and then move the camera a bit forward more. Well, that's also a cool, kind of just have it animate through. I think that might be cool, make a cool animation, but for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna go with a more punched in zoomed view. So more than 24 would I have it, maybe 35. That's nice. Pull it back a little bit. Yeah, I like having the this tops of the bars showing up here, and then I'm gonna move it back just a little bit more so that the next bars are seen fully. And center it, of course. It looks like it's centered, but it's just slightly off to the left. There we are. And for the camera settings, in order to make sure my composition or everything's following the good old rules of composition, go here into camera, no, viewport display, composition guides, thirds, golden ratio, and center. All right. It looks like I was sort of following that already. Cool, 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 cool. So yeah, we have off of this top third, just about, we have empty sky and just these top bars. In the center piece, we have all the other structures and our ball. And then in the foreground, we just have some ground. I think what could be cool for the foreground as well. I'll see if I can come up with some foreground element to put in here. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually delete the ball, do a save as, because you must, because I don't want to keep the original piece, even though it's not that usable. I'll just go ahead here and go back into my projects for the comic book and find... I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really trying to fire up my brain for this, but it's hard. We'll go over to storyboard, and we'll just create a folder here. We'll name it Moment of Travel. The reason why I'm going to name it that is because I'm going to add a vehicle. That's the idea I'm getting. Rather than the sphere, which I took away, I'm going to put in a vehicle. Walkway with vehicle. And I'm going to rely on Blender Kit, another awesome plugin for Blender. This could all be about, how to get the most out of your plugins. Blender Kit, where you at? Blender Kit, models, car. Let's put a car on here. And of course we want free first because my subscription ended. It's not showing me the free ones first. Lamborghini. That looks very cool by Pierre Louis Baril. Very, very photoreal. Good contender. Old taxi truck. Let's keep going. We got a Chevy. No thanks. We have, a fully rigged low poly car. Very nice. By Alex Samosenko. We'll probably revisit that. I'm very tempted to use this one. A wooden toy car. Yeah, very tempting. Let's see what else. We got some tires. We got some headlights. A Jeep MDF car. It's like in that weird wedge where it's not fully developed or photorealistic. It is an object. It is a little model, but not like the other one where it's simple volumes that I can just use. Or a simple volume. Sorry, it's not like overly simplistic. Tesla Model X. And make a little Tesla ad, That'd be kind of cool. Sci-fi hover car by Robert Restupambuli. This guy did the Lambo too, huh? Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what we're gonna do. Let's do this, because that'll create some real cool contrast in the scene, because, obviously the things that we have showing up here are sort of futuristic looking. And I like the contrast I could do with the old car. Might have to turn this back into a wide angle just to really get some dramatic, sort of a dramatic scene going on. Scale this up. Very cool. So this is going to be very much a symmetrical scene, which can work. What's the movie director? There's a movie director that's known for his symmetry in his movies. Wes Anderson. Very much a Wes Anderson shot. Okay, so I am liking that so far. I think I want to scale everything up, or I guess I'll have to scale the card down. That's nice. To make this more dramatic, the thing is, the more telescopic I make the camera, the more detail I take away from the car, right? The more it's just a front face for the car, which isn't quite what I'm going for. Because if I make it super wide angle and then punch it in, not that much, or I'm too wide angle. Yeah, that's way too wide angle. We do like that's a bit more dramatic, although the camera is kind of too close in. I think things are getting a little bit too distorted here. I think I'm gonna have to keep it at 35, which isn't even that telescopic. Still, I think it's not in the wide angle range, but not in the telescopic range either. It's more in the portrait. So with that there, I'm going to turn off the environment because it's clearly affecting some lights here. It looks like I had some world settings for the lighting. Let's go over here into the shader editor and switch from object to world and see what it is that I was doing. So I got a color plugged into the world. Let's take that out. There we go, making everything dark, much more dramatic. We'll add in a fog element. It might be too early for that, actually. So I just want to slow down my render. I'm going to click into the car in order to edit it. Very well built model. I can only edit one side and it'll just mirror to the other. So kudos to you, creator of this model. I will give you credit once I revisit the video. And can I just see who made it? If I open this back up. Alex Samusenko. Killed it, man. We'll go over here to material for the for the lights for the car. I don't see it. Mirror, rusted steel. What material are you? If I go to object, Brazilian wood, car paint, fuel. Zoom in here, can I tell? Oh, it looks like it's just metal. Mirror. Is it mirror? Let's just create a new one. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new one. Make it emissive. So new material. Go down. Emission. We'll make it white. We'll also make it slightly bluish. And assign that to these faces. Boom. Zoom back out. And I want to increase the light just enough so he gets a little bit of glow. So make it a bit more powerful there. There we go. So we get a nice little shine on the side of the car there. That's looking great. I'm going to make it more powerful. Yeah. I think that's great. Okay. It looks like I have some other emissive materials going on in this scene. So before I give that final touch, I just want to tweak those. So this is not great. I think it's too much. It's way too large. So these objects are arrayed and mirrored. So there should just be one that I need to edit. Perfect. And I definitely made this way too beefy. I want to take this face and push it in. There we go. Still haven't finished my camera composition, but should probably make that larger in order to fix that. Okay. Very nice. Go back into the camera view. And I'll go into the material. Turn off its emission strength. I didn't even make it strong enough. It looks like I have a light in the scene as well. So let's find where that light is. Sun. I have a sun. I don't want that. It's not even showing up in the render. Why would I do that? Let's just go ahead and delete that. Perfect. Very, very cool. Dramatic. All right. So with that, what's going to make the light coming off of this car even better? I just want to make sure that if I turn off the headlights, I have no light in my scene. It actually might be too bright. Yeah. So I want to make sure I get a nice little reflection on the car there, but I don't want to light the area on the car too much using the emissive. So that is pretty good for ambient, and it's getting that nice little shine right there. So I'm good with that. The next part, I'm going to hit shift right click to put the origin on the headlight, and I'm going to add a light, and I'm going to add a spotlight. Rotate that through so it's facing forward. Increase its power, of course, and increase spot size. Is this working? I have to move it out. It is working, but actually I think what I wanted to do was use an area light, not a spotlight, so that I can control the light cone. So if I make this more intense, but then I make the spread smaller, there we go. So that I see that the light kind of lands just in front of the car like that. Nice. And I will duplicate that. Ooh, I'll actually duplicating using Alt-D. That way I only need to change the settings on one of the lights. Move that over. Very cool. There we go. We got some headlights going. It's going to make this really nice as well. I'm going to increase the size so that it fits there. Is when I add in the fog, we're going to see those beams of light originating from the headlights. It's going to look really, really nice. Okay, so that's going to light our foreground and make it very dramatic. Now I need to light the rest of my scene. So I'll go back into this object, go to its emissive material. What happened here? Weren't you emissive a second ago? Oh yeah, that's going to change the... It looks like I had some sort of image plugged in for the base color, and now that's gone. All right, so I'm not loving the yellow. Let's tweak that. So we have a color plugged in here. Blue can be very nice. Not green. Not red. Purple? I would go with the blues. Purple or blue? Yeah, I'm going to go with the blue. I'm going to actually saturate that quite a bit. Nice. I think that may be all the lighting that we need here. So another thing that I'm going to do is now fix my camera composition. I'm going to do that through here. And I can have the top of the car land just on that line. I don't want this showing up right there. Do I? No, I don't. So maybe I move the camera actually much lower so that I hit the bottom wheels. There we are. Right on that line. Car sits perfectly centered. My other third line lands just below this bar, which is better. I've hidden the top. I'm happy with that. And then I might just punch it in some more. Eliminate some of the foreground. I'm not happy with this straight on view. It's just not working. What if I go off to the side? You know, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to work the scene from this angle, and then I'll get some other cameras in here in detail shots. So I'll move it a bit further back where I was. Just a little bit. Yep. And once again, move the camera down so that I can center the car. Maybe that's what I need to do, just kind of get low. Yeah. Get low and just have the lights right in the center. Commit. Commit to the symmetrical shot. All right. Not bad. I do have to make sure that my foreground is looking real nice though. So I'm going to tab into this object and start tweaking the textures for this walkway. Oh, not sure what. Oh, no. A whole lot of faces going on here. Why did I do this to myself? Yeah, this is gonna be very inefficient. So what I'm gonna do is tab back out of this object. Tab out. This is slowing down my computer so dang much. This is one of my rookie mistakes. I applied my subdivisions for whatever reason. So I am going to shift right click right here and I'm going to rebuild this shape. Let's go ahead and scale that up. Yep. Yep. And just kind of make it like a skin. So if I hit tab now, I can do a control R to add a loop cut. Oh geez. Oh, no, I'm not slowing down. I'm just, something's happening. Control R to add a loop cut. Control R to add a loop cut. And I click here, right click to have it snap to the center. And then I'm going to delete the face on the right hand side and dissolve it or delete it. So delete only the face. And I wanted to delete the edges as well, but no matter. I'll just hit here, delete, only edges. I should hit faces and edges. That's fine. Delete the one on this end. Cool. The reason why I did that is because my origin point for this object is still going to be located in the center. But now what I can do is add a modifier to mirror. Follow in the steps of our good friend. I'm going to give you so many shout outs, my man. Alex Samosenko, and mirror our model because that's efficient. So I'm going to mirror it on the y-axis. And now I can just concern myself with building out one side of this thing. And it will repeat on the other side. So go into edit mode. I got my edge selected. And going to extrude that up. I think I'm even going to extrude it just less than what I had originally done. Hit tab again, make sure I got my edge selected there, and extrude that off to the side. I'm going to work at this from the front view. So there's my line. I'll extrude it on the y-axis and just click right here, trusting that it's working, and then Z. Oh. Okay. Hitting this edge, extruding that up with Z. Go back in my solid view. There we have it. And extruding it off to the side. Nice. Now I can take the original geometry and delete that out. And I have a replacement. That's just, you know, clay textured. Now we'll throw a texture on here. We'll go into Blender Kit as well. We'll go to Materials. And I'm going to select... Oh, you know what? No, I'm going to go into this plugin. Rather than Blender Kit, I'm going to use the Real-Time Materials plugin made by Ducky 3D. He does great work. And he's got some cool materials here. There's some sci-fi ones. Maybe under abstract. Yes, but no. He's got some that are not basics. Ooh. Although there was some there that caught my attention. Whole section for camo. Cloths, no. Hex UV. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Love it. So very futuristic. That's the sort of contrast that I was going for between the car and the scene. So I think that's what I wanted, right? One of the hex ones. Because you also have some light coming off of it. I'm going to use this one, sound panel. It looks more like carbon fiber-ish. I mean, we'll see. Maybe there's some bump to it. Okay, if I look down here, we see that the material is totally stretched out. What I got to do is I got to hit, I think it was Control A. Yeah, apply all transforms, and then Tab, A, U, Smart UV project, so that my UVs are now fixed. And if I zoom in a lot here into the render, no, if I zoom out, we see the lines are actually way too big. So in my shader editor here, I just got to change the scale. Shout out to you, Ducky, for making real easy to use texture nodes, kind of grouping them together like this for us. I think I want to make it, there we go. Larger number means smaller tile sizes. So bring that down quite a bit. So we have a lot of hex cells. Cool. There's like a tiled floor. They do look like sound panels, but it also looks like it's meant to grip with the car. And I want to bring up the brightness on these. I mean, granted, it's being overtaken by the headlights of the car. Ooh, if I rotate, it is giving off this kind of like very light glow. But if I go off to the side, I want these lights to pop out a bit more. The ones generated here. No hard edges ever. So go to, we're adding a modifier here to bevel out these edges. There we go. That's not working too nicely because it's screwing with our texture. Even if I add more segments. Yeah. So a better way to do that would be to do a subdivision modifier. So we'll add one that has simple, set that to 2, duplicate it, and set the next one to Catmull Clark. There we go. And if I don't want it to be that rounded, well, I'll hit Tab. I'm over here working in this small little screen on the right-hand side for the render view. Not fair to you guys, so I apologize for that. We'll make it better. There we go. So we can pull this edge up with the loop cut, and there we go. We got a nice little bevel. And we see over here on the left-hand side that our texture is still sort of screwed up, but I guess when I added those loop cuts, it brought that back to not being, no, the subdivision modifier did that as well, right? So I have to go here into advanced UV. It says keep boundaries. I think if we keep corners, nope, keep corners, or just hit none. Nope. Use creases. I'm not too concerned with that. It's not a focal point for the render, and it's going to be seen from very, very far away. So I'll go ahead and keep it as it is right now. Go back into my camera view so I can sort of reset over here. All right, I'm going to hit Tab, Control. I'm going to bring these edges over so I don't have to keep zooming out so far away to work on the edges. So we'll hit Control R once more in Tab with this face selected. And I'm just going to add in on this side right here a different material. So select that face, go to materials, add a new one, and make it emissive as well. I'm going to go for a blue that's similar to the one that I used on the top pieces. Make sure to hit assign so I can see how that's affecting the render. Just going to go ahead and make this bigger. We're really getting somewhere now. So we have our underlighting there. It might be too bright. Let's bring that down to 50. It's real low ambient. And the top piece here, I think we want to make that. How bright is that? We have it set to 5. We're also going to bring up the brightness on that to 50. Okay, so I think what I can do up here is set this to material preview so we can see a bit of what's going on. So there's no material set on the columns here. So what I'm going to do for the columns is just set that as some sort of concrete. So I'll go over to, I guess it was originally set to paving, but I lost that material. So I'll rely on Ducky's materials once more. Go to rocks, grain rock. Yeah, that's it. Simple. Nice. Oh, this one also needs a bevel so that we don't have those hard edges. I can't believe I didn't even do that back when I first created this file. Even in material preview here, this is looking pretty cool. So we'll add in a bevel, scroll down, increase the amount of bevel. I guess the way that I built this model, the bevel isn't quite applying as it should. So I'll go ahead and do the subsurface trick again. That's interesting, but not what I'm looking for. Duplicate, Catmull Clark. I want to increase my levels for the first subdivision. Kind of like this arch I got going on now. Increase the subdivisions for the Catmull Clark one as well, so that gets rounded. That's a real nice detail. I love that inside curve. So I'm going to move forward with that. It looks like we're getting a little bit of rounding on our edges here because I have some loop cuts set up there running across as well. So that is great. Let's see how this outer edge is looking. Also rounded corner there. So I'm happy with how that's looking right there. Okay. I'm also going to use this material. Let's see what you called it. Grain rock. I'm going to use that for the sides so that I have the hex tile only on the bottom level. So let's go over here. Select these faces. Create a new material slot. Find my grain rock and assign it to those faces. Boom. I am now going to get rid of this bottom here. Switch this over, go into my camera view. I'm just gonna not overcomplicate myself. I need to make the tiles blue as well on the ground, so I'll go to the hex panel, but I'm pretty much done. Once I make this blue instead of green, so it matches everything else in the scene. Oh no, I'm gonna make it orange. And that's gonna play real good with the teal. So I can expand this node group right here and see his whole script. And guess where we change the green color? Yeah, where the green is, right here. You don't have to be a scientist to work with nodes, even though it looks like you do. So I'll hit the green color, double click, make it an orange. Real reddish orange. Love me some reddish orange, blood orange. Nice. I don't know if it's a coincidence here when I look at the material preview that it seems to be affecting the area under the car a bit more, but I love that. Happy accidents. Tab out of that. I'm just gonna add in some more subdivision levels here for the final render. So I'm working with 2 and 2 on viewport and render. I'm just gonna double that for the final render so I make sure my materials are showing the proper amount of bump and displacement. If I rotate around, yeah, it does look like the way that the hex is set up, the way my bank account is set up, the way the hex is set up, it looks like it's landing right under the car. So first of all, before I go any further, I'm going to make sure that the car is touching the ground because right now it's not. So I need to find its origin. There it is. And go into my wireframe view, go off to the side view, and move it down ever so slightly so the wheels are touching the surface. There we are. Bam. We get proper contact shadows. Cool. Longer than I intended to go for on this one, but I'm so happy with the results. And Yeah, minimum input for maximum output. It's looking great. So my orange isn't really coming through from the hex. But is that because of my live render mode? I don't think so. I think I need to pump up. I'm going to first add the fog effect so I can get an accurate assessment of what the final result's going to look like. So as usual, we add in our sphere, blow it up past our camera. There we go. Click on it and go to its material, add a new material, remove the principled BSDF so that there's no surface on it, or there's no color to it. And we go to the volume section, volume scatter, way too much. So we do it 0.001 on density. There we go. We added in some fog, therefore adding in depth into our scene. Very nice. Is this too much fog? Yes, it might be still. So we'll go to 0007, 0005. I think that's an appropriate amount. Now that I'm looking at the car, I am going to do some fakery. I'm going to just click right here and start adding some area lights that are going to point right at the car. There we go. Where is that light? Why is it way out into the side? I wanted it here. Jeez. Hide the sphere. I wanted this light right next to the car. Where the heck did I bring this in from? And we'll make it, there we go, change its shape like that so that it looks, I'm only going to make it like, I don't want to increase the lights of all the arches we have here. So I'm just going to start faking these to be brighter so that I can get some really cool reflections coming off the car. This is where you start, you know, getting less realistic and just worrying about stylizing this, right? We'll go to the camera view and I'll go off to the side and see what I'm doing here. Bring that up. There we go. That's nice. Change the color to match. There we are. And you can go to the object properties for this one and I can turn off. Well, no, I don't want to turn off glossy because then it would just, let's see how that looks from the camera. Select that light. There it is. That was totally luck that I selected it there. And bring it up. I could even make it a different color just to see how it's hitting the car. So you see it's introducing some edge lighting right there. So what I might want to do is do some more fakery by bringing it off to the side. I want to make the spread of these lights smaller. We can see there, it's like kind of hitting. There we go. Make it much, much, much brighter. Maybe I need to tone down my emissive material on the arches. So we'll bring that down to like half of what it was, 25. There we are. So that my new lights can put in some more work. Set that back to the blue. And increase its spread size. There we go. That's lighting up the car nicely. Go back to my camera view. Yeah, so now we're getting a bit more contouring. We're revealing a bit more about the shape of the car. And a little trick I learned, I'm just going to try this. I'm going to add in a torus. And right here, I'm going to make sure that my torus is much, much larger. To kind of take on the shape of the car. And that size that it has, it's fine. I'm going to move it off of camera. But if I make this one white in light, there we go, emissive, and bring up the light setting on this one, and move it up, even out of camera. Well, I can actually have it right here. What I'm gonna do is just have it like right above the car. Let's make it a little bit blue. No, I'm gonna keep it white. If I make it super, super bright. I think that might be way too bright. Oh, I could have been working with my denoiser. There we go. The previewing just got so much easier. Albedo and normal. Okay. Let's see what it looks like with that ring and without. Yeah, I need that fill a little bit, but not that bright. I'm gonna bring it down considerably. So but I don't want this ring to show up in the final render. I just want to use it to fill in a little bit more light into the scene. I think even less. A third of where it's at right now. Nope, even less. 300. Even less. There's definitely a point of diminishing returns with the light ring here. I think that's good. Yeah, it's real subtle, but it's just kind of filling in the shape of the objects in the scene a bit better. But I'm going to go into its settings and I'm going to hit visibility here and turn off camera. That way the ring is there and it is actually lighting the scene, but it's not going to show up to the camera. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm at here. So I got my fog in there. Oh yeah, the material here of the sound panels. So we want to make sure that I can turn up the emission. So it doesn't have actually any emission. What I'm going to do is plug in what's affecting the color, what's creating the orange and the tiles. I'm going to plug that into emission. And now we have it actually like, sorry. Now we're actually using that orange color to add in some orange light under here. And that's going to create a orange underlight the car, which looks awesome. So actually, I'm going to go into my object here. I'm going to make this final tweak. I keep saying I'm wrapping it up, but it's like there's always that, there's a great practice out there, or I mean, it's that 80-20 rule, but I heard it specifically with the 3D art from Punisher. Geez, I forget his real name right now. Clint from the Corridor Crew channel. And he said, we want to get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time so that we can spend 80% of our time on the 20% that's going to matter. And that is just so true. I feel like we followed that pretty well in this session here. So just kind of making that. There we go. Taking this material, making it also an orange. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Final thing, I do want to underlight the car with the orange, but I do want the lights to also be in the foreground so that in the foreground we can see a bit more detail, right? Because otherwise our foreground is going to be a bit boring if we don't have none of that light punching through right here. There's a lot of foreground. So I'm going to go off to the side. Go into my hex material. There we go. Find out where I can control this orange color. Well, I mean, the orange is coming through here. So, oh, it's the noise texture right here. So it's actually just a noise texture. So if I can change the scale of it, even past 15, I don't know why it's capping me at 15, but if I make it larger, and have it show up more. There we go. That's nice. We had some roughness. So there's more inconsistencies there with the glow, and maybe even some distortion. That is a bit much. I want to dial that back. There we go. And I'm just going to do this based on the camera view. Perfect. See right there, we got some glow happening in the foreground. We've got our underglow on the car, and then we have this section here that's dark. I am going to grab the headlights here, and I'm going to make that more blue. So it's not just like a white light hitting on the ground. Perfect. All right. Calling it done right there. Saving. Go into solid view. I'm going to render this extra crispy at 200% of the settings I had here. And hit render. So as usual, I went on for much longer than I intended in the beginning. But we got our stream in today. And I got to revisit this project, which, if you don't remember what this looked like in the beginning, I'm going to, as this renders, I'm going to try and find a, oh no. Not rendering yet. I want to change my tile size. I hate the default tile size, 512. There we go. It's like rendering a quarter of the image at once, and that just is not, doesn't yield good results, performance-wise or quality-wise. I'm going to see if I can find that original render that this scene created, and we can compare it to what I just did. Should have been here. I don't see it. Oh man, I think I might have actually revamped this twice, because this looks like what I had originally done with that scene. Or I don't know what this is. Clearly this is the scene that I just worked on, but it looks like I threw it into another one and tried to be weird with it. Let's see. This is the same thing we just looked at. Yeah, I don't see it here. Maybe in the 2021. Nope, that's some furniture file. Yeah, once I edit this video, try to find that render that this one produced. Not sure where it went. But this is definitely an upgrade. Oh man. There's always one more thing you realize that you could do better. Damn it. I'm just gonna have to do it. Sorry. I need to select the camera, and I need to go and add in depth of field. And I'm gonna focus the depth of field on the headlight of the car. Here, speedometer and logo. So if you want to see the depth of field here, I can turn it on the top right, so I don't have to go to rendered view to see the depth of field being created by the camera. I just turn it on. Well, I'm not seeing it, so I'm gonna have to go into rendered. And mess with the f-stop. There we go. So we're getting this nice blur, like getting things out of focus in the foreground and way out in the background so that our car is in focus. So we see here that the side view mirror is perfectly in focus, but the front of the car isn't. So I just want to bring up the f-stop until, there we go. The car is fully in focus. The tires are in focus. And then if I zoom out, my floor is not out of focus. So let's see if I can dial this down. There we go. The floor is now slightly out of focus. And the car, and I bring it one more down. And the car is perfectly in focus. I can get some really cool close-ups out of this one too. Nice. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit render and we can call it there, y'all. So again, strange session, me starting up so late at night, but you know, that's what it is sometimes. This is sometimes what a Friday night looks like when you're trying to get in your practice, trying to get it in every day. Life happens, but we made it happen. Ended up sticking around for an hour to make this happen. So definitely wanted to do something like this in 20 minutes, but I definitely think I got through 80% of the work in 20 minutes and then spent 40 minutes just dialing in all the nuances of the scene. But I'm super happy with the result. This is going to make a great post. And it's going to make a great addition to the story. So thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you up again tomorrow. Got quite a few things to get through tomorrow, so I'm not sure what time I will come online, but it's going to be probably a much longer session. I might go for 2, maybe even 3 hours, because I have enough material at this point to get out the first page, maybe even 2 pages from the comic book. So it'll be 3D session, getting out those stills from the scenes that I've been working on the past couple weeks and throwing that into a layout. Not the final layout that I'll be using, but a layout that will show a layout that lays out the panels, right? And then in the future, once I have all my pages set up with all my stills and all the panels and the text laid out, I then revisit all the pages and actually do like a different layout on it. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.